Hello and welcome to episode 12 of Pulumi for IT Pros. Just a quick video this week. We're going to have a quick look at logging that might help you with doing some debugging or providing some additional information at the Pulumi CLI. So Pulumi allows you to add messages to the CLI output using the log method. It has the same sort of logging you might expect with anything else. So you can do debug, info, warning, messages, and so on. You can do those sort of things and get them output to the CLI. This is mainly going to be useful either for if you're trying to debug something, you want to get an output when you run the CLI, or if you want to supply some additional information to people who are actually running your Pulumi code. So if we hop on over to VS Code, and we've got our code from before, and what we're going to look at first is adding some logging information here, just about this second subscription provider. I just want to provide some details on that. So very basic level, we can do pulumi.log, and then we can do, say, debug error info warn. So we'll just do info, and we're going to add a very basic message. It says, pretty standard basic stuff there. So just passing a string into that. So if we go back over to the CLI, and if we run Pulumi up, just going to give it that stack, zoom in slightly. And what that should then do is show us that error message. And it will show us that error message on both the preview and the apply. So you can see there, it's giving us that error message using second subscription provider. If I hit yes, it will give me that again. Now, at the minute, that's associated with a stack. So it basically appears at the top of the message. There we see associated with a stack. We can, if we want to, associate that with a specific resource. So the second property we can put in here, and we can associate this. In this case, we'll give it the second sub provider. This accepts any Pulumi resource. So if we hit that, and we go back to the CLI, and what you'll see, same message, but we will get that associated with that resource. So you can see now it's the information is underneath that resource. You can see it's attached to the second sub provider. If we go into details, we get any more information? No, we don't. But yeah, you can see that's associated with that. We can also go in here and change this to warn. And what that will do is it will basically just change the color and indicate that it's a warning message. So you see there you get a warning for the message as well. Now, that's all well and good if we are just wanting to put string information in there. So if you just want to type messages and give some information to the user, that'll work absolutely fine. Where it gets a little bit more complicated is where you want to actually put some information about Pulumi resources in it. So this only accepts a string. So you can't just put, you can't go and get second sub provider.id and stick the ID in here. It won't work. We have to do is wrap this in an apply statement. If you haven't watched the video on apply yet, I'd recommend you go and do that because this won't make a lot of sense. We're going to use that. Basically, apply is going to go and make sure that resource has been created before it tries to get the resource information. And so here I prepared it earlier. So basically what we're doing is saying second sub provider .id .apply. So make sure we've got that resource, and then using a Pulumi a Python lambda to put that into sub ID. And then we're using the log info command. We're using the format command to basically pass that into the same substring. So we get the sub ID, that's text, then the actual ID, and again we're associating it with that second sub provider. So if we now go back to the CLI and run that again, we should see now is both of those messages. So you see there, we've got the warning saying it's using the second subscription provider, and then it gives us the ID and it has pulled that value in there. So you can put all those Pulumi values in if you want. So if you're trying to debug and trying to see what a property is, you can absolutely get that out. You just need to wrap it in an apply block. And there you go. You can see how you can create log messages in your code, give you some additional information, and you can use them pretty much anywhere in your code, either at the stack level or at individual resources to output information into the CLI. I hope that was useful, and hopefully I'll see you next time.